Yo, 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 what up? Another Squad Talk live with special guest South Bay Creations. Most of y'all know him in the squad is Jason. We call him South Bay.
Thanks,
James.
How you doing? Sorry, I was trying to pull the comments up here to get ready. But yeah, thanks for having me again. I appreciate it.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Everybody knows me as James. I finally started my YouTube channel. It's a Customs Journey. So go tune in, check it out.
Nice. That's good to know.
Yeah.
That's good.
So James, not James. I'm gonna start. I gotta train my brain to say A Customs Journey. A Customs Journey.
Oh,
What's
okay. Okay, I see it there.
Yeah, A Customs.
You just caught it.
What program do you use, man? I gotta ask real quick for recording your software.
For recording software, I use the one that comes with the Mac, iMovie.
Yep. So for all of those that have questions, he started with iMovie, which is the same thing I started with, iMovie. If you believe it, you can achieve it. Y'all get out there and start making those videos. Jason, what's going on, man? How you been?
Hanging in there, just working like usual. That's about it. What's going on with you?
Same with y'all, man. Work. Continuous grind.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I seen you got some new machines, man. Can you explain what's going on with some new things to the DTF world for us?
Well, I got 3 printers total now in my farm of DTF printers. So 2 of them will print up to 17 inches wide, and then the other one is a 13 by 19 inch. So they're pretty good sized printers. And I've got a dryer, like a flash dryer that I got. It's made for screen printers, but I'm using it to dry the sheets. They dry really fast. Unfortunately, when I got the machine, it started smoking from the control panel. So I took it apart, and the contactor is bad. And I haven't been able to get a hold of the place that I got it from. Excuse me. So I filed a complaint with PayPal. And I'm still waiting for that to get resolved. But in the meantime, I have it hot wired to work when I need it. So it used to have a time. It's supposed to have a timer on it, but now it doesn't. It's just I have to jam a screwdriver into the contactor to turn it on, and I have to sit there and hold it while it's does its thing. And I just move the prints in and out like every 10, 15 seconds, and it dries them really fast. But I want to get that returned and get one of those for basically for production, that it goes through the shaker. You put the film on a roll, and then it'll go through a shaker, put the powder on it, shake off the excess, and then it goes through an oven, cooks it, and then rolls it up on the other end. So basically that printer can just keep running and running and running. As long as I set up my jobs right for the day and have I don't know, maybe 50 prints going lined up, I can just keep printing and printing, and everything will be powdered and cured all in one shot. That'll make life a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Especially right now, I have a t-shirt job that's 20 shirts, which isn't that much, but I mean, would be able to print those shirts and print those transfers on that reel and just let it go. Now I send a print to each printer of the 3 printers, but I'm running back and forth between the powder and the dryer, and then starting the printers up again. And I mean, it's okay. It keeps me on my feet, but it's still good. It works.
I know it's been a while. I mean, when we talked the first time, you were just getting into DTF.
Yeah.
So did you find, is it easier now, the process? Is it starting to get normalized with it?
Yeah, it's more normalized now that I've got a better grip of it with the software. And my first venture, I went in with that XP 15,000, and it was new to the DTF world, and everybody else was new to it, so there wasn't much info there. and I was working back and forth with Veronica Hernandez, and we were basically trying to get it going. And the whole time, the problem was the darn software. So it wasn't the printer's fault. It was the problem with the AcroRip, and people are still having issues with it. It's been a couple months now, and people are still having issues with it. I bailed out on that thing. I mean, I kept having even when they did the update. Yeah, it printed, but it still was giving me issues. So I was like, I don't have time for this. I mean, this ain't a hobby. This is a business. This thing's it's gone. So Veronica actually has it now, and she used it as a sublimation printer. And I think she turned it back into a DTF printer because she's been really busy with prints and doing her shirts and everything. So I believe she's got 3 printers going now too. And I think Anthony's got 3 or 4 or 6.
Oh, yeah.
Anthony's crazy. He's got so many printers over there. He's got so many printers. Where's he at? Is he on here yet?
Flawless 605. I'm not sure. I'm not in Facebook. One of my phones is dead. So right now I'm just using the comments over here.
I'll log in and see if I got to read them. Let me see.
I got the Facebook page up, but it's not updating.
Yes, technology. By the way, y'all, 12 Gone Apparel just got off from his other job, so he might come on. I know how it is working, getting off one job, hopping on to the next one. Coffee Powder Home, how you doing? Educated Natural, how you doing? Peaches High, how y'all doing? Hey, auntie. Yeah, I can't. It's the thing about these streaming platforms is if you're not registered with them, that person, and you're on Facebook, like we cannot see your name. So, Kayla, hi, how you doing? I'll be so worried about mispronouncing folks' names now. Best Uni, how you doing?
So Jason, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was gonna ask you. So with the machine that you got, what would you say was the biggest learning curve? Because I want to get into it, but it's like it's totally new, and everybody says something different.
It's basically the software that processes the prints. It's necessary to have it because no other program like our regular Photoshop or Affinity or Silhouette, whichever, doesn't have any functions to print in white. So these programs do have extra channels, ink channels to control the white ink, and they also control the percentage of ink that's put down on the film. So AcroRip is very easy to use. It's very basic. I think it's a little more user friendly. I think I learned that in about maybe a day. I got used to adjusting everything. CADLink, on the other hand, was a lot tougher to learn because it has a lot more features in it. But the funny thing is they're the same price. You've got AcroRip is $400, and it's super basic. It does the very basic thing, basically prints. It'll knock out the black, and that's about the only thing it'll do. And then you have CADLink, which has everything. It has a editing program built in. It does the knockout black. You can do frames, like you get those images that are just square. Well, you can do a frame around it, like with Cheetah Print or distressed. You can distress an image. You can take regular image like this, and it has distress filters built in, where you can do all that on the fly. You can crop images, you can duplicate images, you can add multiple images to one sheet. AcroRip doesn't do any of that. All you can do with AcroRip is knock out the black, and you can duplicate your image, like basically what do they call it? Where you gang it up on a sheet, but you multiply that same image. So you can't turn that image and keep one straight and then turn this one to kind of get them to fit. They can only go like little soldiers. Basically, they're all standing in a line. And but with CADLink, you can turn it, you can shrink it, you can do each image individually. So I really like that program, and it's the same price. It's $400. It's a lot of money for software, but it's a necessary evil because you have to have that this this guy here, which is the dongle for the. This is what makes it run. It's the security chip, basically. You got to have this plugged in. This is the one for AcroRip. I've got both of them actually. I've got this one basically free because I had so many problems with the software. I went back and forth with the director, like Veronica did, and he ended up just giving it to me and giving me my money back and told me to keep it because I was furious. I was furious because I wasted so much time and so much ink on trying to get that printer to work with a software I thought was supposed to work, and the whole time it was the software that was making the issue. So the answer to your question, the biggest learning curve is the software. That's about it, really. As far as like the maintenance goes, the maintenance is a big deal. You have to do it. If you're not going to be around for more than 24 hours, you should pull those cartridges out, or your sys system, pull it out and have another set of cartridges that have just cleaning solution in them. Put those cartridges in and run a couple head flushes to get that ink out of the head. Because I was telling Mike earlier, if I leave for a couple hours, if I go to the post office, get lunch, maybe stop at the store, get some sodas, I come back and I print something right away, half of the print doesn't have white ink on it because that ink dried up already. Then it slowly works its way through and then it starts printing. So I just wasted that sheet of film. I have to run a head cleaning on it if it sits for more than a couple hours. So that's one of the things. You waste ink. You waste ink with it because you're doing those constant head cleanings. When I first get here in the morning, I pull all the cartridges out of the machines. And I just, I don't shake them up vigorously. I just give them a couple twists. You don't want to get too many air bubbles in there. Slide them all back in, turn the machine on, let them boot up. They do their little check. And then once they're done with that, I go through the maintenance menu, and then I run a head cleaning, let it finish with that one, and then I do another head cleaning just to make sure that the head is clear. And then I'm ready to go. Then I can print, constantly all day long. I can stop for an hour. I can then go back to printing and no problem. But it seems to be more than a couple hours, then you have to run another head cleaning. You use, it doesn't take a lot of ink, but it does take some ink. So you have to consider that in your cost when you're doing it. But as far as learning, it's just the software, depending on which one you use, and I really suggest that CAD Link. I'm not affiliated with them or anything, but one of our group members, Chris, he's a new member. He's super helpful. He's a sales rep for them. And if anybody's got questions or problems, you can hit him up. Even if you didn't get it from him, he'll still help you out. So that, to me, he's a genuine guy, genuine person. He's not just out for the money. He wants to help people. So he's a good guy. I can help you as much as I can. I know the software pretty well now because, I went through it and explored it, and I have 3 printers running off of it. That's the other thing too, is if you buy the software once, but you can only control 1 printer at a time with it. Now, if you want to control another printer, it costs you another $200 to open a second port so that you can run those 2 printers at the same time. And then if you want a third printer, it's another $200 to open up another port. So, and that's just to print them at the same time. Now, if one prints and it finishes and you go to print to another printer, it'll start printing to that one. But they won't print at the same time unless you have a second license, basically, or they call them ports, but it's basically another license. But it's half the price. And I've got 2 ports for mine, 2 licenses, and then I use AcroRip on the third one. So that's one of the reasons why I even kept AcroRip around, because I use so I can run all 3 printers at one time. Eventually I'll get another port, but right now they're working, so I don't want to mess with it. And but yeah, it's the software is the learning curve, but there's plenty of help out. With me and Chris, and I think Anthony's familiar with it. Veronica's familiar with it. I know they use AcroRip mostly, but Veronica had CAD Link with her white toner, which was the same company that makes it. They make software for sublimation machines, like the big large format printers. They make sublimation printers for those that have multiple cartridges. Instead of just having the typical 4 cartridges, they'll have, like, a photo printer has like 8 or 9 cartridges, so they can control all those cartridges and put whatever color ink in whichever cartridge, you know.
So we got a couple of questions. What up, Seek? What's going on, man?
There he is, Seek. What's going on? Can't hear you, buddy.
Got your mic on mute.
Your mic. Turn your mic on.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
My bad, man. I'm tired.
Old school print commercial. Can you hear me now? Good.
Right on. Sorry, I'm late. What's going on, Roosevelt Brown? Mr. Maycock, man, you didn't hit this DTF world by storm. You hit it and kept running.
Yes, sir.
So I was listening. Now you up to 3 printers, huh?
3 printers now, yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm supposed to get with you about some. I ain't forgot. I'm just waiting on the picture, a better picture.
No problem.
So, so typically with running 3 printers, how many prints you can print in, say, a day's time?
Oh, that's a good question. I haven't really counted yet, but I've put out more than 50 in a day.
Yeah.
And I mean, it should be able to do that with 1 printer, but I haven't really kept track, because usually I'll be printing, have the printer going, and then I might be pressing the shirts, or I'm powdering the film that just came out of the printer, or running the dryer, or, you know, so it's to keep track of it. To keep them going, it's kind of difficult because they keep me going. You know, they keep me on my toes, running back and forth between them and pulling the film out. I think I waste more film because I'll start another print and forget there's one in the tray, and that when the prints come out, they're wet. So as soon as the other film hits it, it starts peeling the ink off of the other one. And basically, if the ink is up high enough on the first print, they ruin both of them. You know, so that's the worst. You know, at like 50 cents a piece for the film, you kind of don't want to be wasting that stuff.
Yeah, man. We're gonna have to figure out how to recycle, reuse, man.
Yeah. Somebody said something about, I think it was Anthony was saying something about sublimating on the other side of them, using them for sublimation on the opposite side. I haven't tried that, but I mean, it's worth a shot.
Yeah, especially if you messing them up already.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
I seen, I believe in one of the groups that you're in, somebody had some transparent paper that wasn't printing. It just kept going through the machine. Yeah,
that's probably with the XP 15,000.
Yeah, that was Veronica.
Yeah. Something with that film. That was the same problem that basically that was the straw that broke the camel's back with my XP 15,000. After that, I was just, I was done with it because I put it in film and it would just keep running it through, and it only started doing that after they did the update to fix the first original problem it had. So I don't know what, I still don't know what the problem is. I see people in her group complaining about it, and I wish I could help them, but I just don't know what the solution is. Tony or Anthony was having the same problem also with it keeps spitting out film. And Veronica, I think, said she used some different film and it was working good.
Yeah.
I think it was from the DTF Superstore or something like that. And but I talked to Anthony, and he doesn't have that one. He's got the one from the original provider of the software, and he couldn't get that one to feed. And I used 2 different, one from China and then actually 3 different films from 3 different companies, basically. And I couldn't get any of those 3 to get recognized. And it was only after they did the update. Prior to the update, it would go through, it would read it, but it would print out like a strip that was, yay big. If the image was 8 inches long, it would print like just a half-inch strip of it down the center of the film, and that was it. And I put regular paper in there, it would print that with no problem. Like there's a sensor in the head that something to do with seeing the film, or I don't know how, it's some kind of voodoo or black magic. I don't know. It's that thing is just it's not a good printer to start with. I'll tell you that. I see a lot of people getting them, and I feel bad for them because there are so many headaches to deal with that you can get, like a 1400 off of Marketplace or Craigslist, or a used printer, basically something that has 6 channels. And Epson, the older models, 6 channels, the R1900, the 1400, or that what's that one that you got, Seek? The Artisan 1430. I think that's pretty much the same thing as the 1400, except for it has Bluetooth or Wi-Fi on it. The 1400s don't have Wi-Fi. It's like a lower model. The Artisan is like a model above it.
Yeah.
But you can pick those up for what did Ro got his for $150, I think it was.
Wow.
So you can get them. You can get them reasonable. The biggest thing is just make sure that they have cartridges in them. A lot of people will sell them and say they don't have ink, and pull the cartridges out, and then they're sitting for a long time, and that'll dry. The ink will dry in the head. And if you're lucky, you can get it out with cleaning solution, or you might not be lucky and have one of the channels are just completely frozen. So you just got to be careful what you're getting.
I'm sorry, y'all.
So I don't know if I missed it or not. What printers are you running now?
I have 2 of the SureColor P800s. Those will print up to 17 inches wide, and then I have an R1900. That's like the Ferrari out of the bunch. That one prints really fast.
And that's 13 by 19, right?
Yeah, 13 by 19. That one prints fast. It's like a sports car. It goes fast, but it constantly gives me little problems here and there. You know? So, but the 800s, they're like little tanks. I mean, well, they're big printers, but they just keep running and running. I had one problem with it a while back. Was like a month ago. But once I got that taken care of, they've just been basically nonstop. I mean, they're such, knock on wood, such good printers that they're probably the most expensive ones that you can get. I got lucky when I found mine. You just got to keep looking, Mm-hmm. They got the 3880 is similar. It's the older model, and they have like a different controller on them. But I think the print head and everything else is the same. With the chipless firmware and these 800s, basically, it makes the waste tank chipless also. So it sees the waste tank is empty all the time. So you have to keep an eye on it with your, just like your maintenance stuff.
Yeah.
But with those 3880s, you have to pull that thing out and reset it. And then they say something like you got to have one brand new one and then a used one, and you can put the new one in there to trick it and then pull it out and then put the used one, something like that. But with these 800s, you don't have to do that. And that's one of the things I like about them. The P800, who's asking that? The Epson 1400. The 1400, you can use it for DTF. They work great. They print really good quality. They're just slow. But they have a really good print quality. I have another 1400 sitting over here on the floor that I haven't converted yet. I just haven't had the time.
So
let's hold up in the wall.
You got another one to convert. How you gonna move, man? With all them printers going?
I've been throwing stuff out just to make a path in here. I got to get rid of this laser because it's in my way.
Yeah.
Can we see them? Can we see the printers? I don't know what none of them look like. I seen the 1430 from Seek, but if I don't see no little flash on the scroll line, I don't know what y'all talking about at all.
Oh shoot! Are you there? Yep. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna bring my laptop over here. If you can see it here. Can you see it? That's the 880, right? Or the 800.
Yeah.
Okay.
These are like the squirt gun cartridges here.
Oh, okay. Like little water pistols.
That's what
Now,
they
do you got cleaning solution in some of those cartridges?
There's cleaning solution in the last one here.
Okay.
So I don't drop it. And that's just because these two last cartridges originally are meant to switch out between the two colors. There's matte black and photo black.
Mhm.
So depending on what you're printing, there's in the control panel, you can switch between the two, but they say just put, this is dirty because it has ink that was coming back through the line. I never flushed this channel out, but they say to put cleaning solution in here just so it's not dry. So I don't know if it actually does that, but I have a whole nother set of cartridges that have cleaning solution in it. So if I have to leave them sit, I can put those cartridges in there, flush it a couple times so the cleaning solution gets inside, and then they'll be good to go. They can sit for a couple days, and you don't have to worry about the ink. And then this is the 1900 here. Don't mind the fires on there. This is the one I always have to do little tricks to. But it's basically always has its hood open just like that because it's got the sys. And then my little made up outfeed table with the A-sub paper.
Yeah.
Then the 7720, which is a regular printer, but then the other 800 is right there behind it. So that one has a roll that I can hook up to it. So I have it set back where it can outfeed the prints this way off of the roll, since they really don't have nothing to go into.
That's dope.
So the center, my center section of my shop right here is my printer island.
Okay.
My 1660 for my sublimation printer, that's right here, and then right next to that I have the oven. My little workhorse here for doing my tumblers.
That's a lot of printers, man.
A lot of power, a lot of electric over there.
There's a lot of electric going on over here, man. I don't know how much those printers suck up, but I'm afraid to. My bill hasn't really gone up too much, but I'm afraid to know what they actually. Sorry, I'm plugging everything back into the laptop, so it's making
me showing us, 'cause I wouldn't know what I was getting just by looking.
So I saw a question up there. I had it on the screen, but somebody asked, "How do the prints hold up in the wash?"
Fantastic. You can wash them like normal. You don't have to do anything funny. The only thing you should do is just turn them inside out, but you can put them on regular wash cycle. You don't have to use delicate cycle. You can dry them like normal. They hold up real good.
Wow.
Now I got a question.
Yeah.
How do you know that it's properly cured? Because I've seen in a couple of groups where people mentioned after they washed it, the problem was that it wasn't properly cured.
The thing is, they're probably over curing it. I don't know if I have a print handy here, but if you over cure it, it seems to happen on the darker colors that attracts the heat more. It puts pinholes in it, and those pinholes, if you peel the print off of the film, it's basically, it will come off like a piece of, almost like a piece of rubber, and you can hold the print in your hand after it's cured. If you start to stretch it a little bit, those holes will open up. So if they fail in the wash, more than likely it's probably because it's over cured. I've put stuff on shirts without curing them by mistake, by just forgetting because I had too much stuff going on. So straight from the powder onto the shirt and then pressed it, and no problem, but the prints are blurry because the ink smeared,
Gotcha.
It didn't cure because the powder helps the ink cure. Once the powder's on there and then they cook together, they have some kind of chemical reaction and it cures the ink. But it gets almost like an orange peel surface where it's kind of like an orange peel basically, and it feels like kind of rubbery. So when you're cooking it, you can pull it out and kind of touch it, and it's kind of sticky. If it feels powdery still, then it's not cured, and it also will get kind of like a glossiness over it. Like when I put it underneath the dryer, I can look underneath there and you see like a smoke or a steam coming off of it, and you can watch it transform where it gets like a glossy kind of color, not really color, but and then orange peel kind of texture over it. So you got to watch for that. And you got to hold the prints up to the light after they come out, especially if there's a lot of darker colors on it, to make sure that it's not burnt through. If you're cooking it too long, so you gotta watch them. I mean,
Whoa. So, like you said, hold it to the light. What would you be looking for? Excuse me, I have to take this call. I'm sorry.
We're cool.
I will be right back.
All right. I'll wait for him to come back before we answer that.
All right. Coffee Powder Home says, I heard that as well about the curing time.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you everybody for tuning in tonight with us to speak with South Bay Creations. So with the different printers that you have, are you able to run that CAD link on every printer, or is it just like, I would wonder if you have to pay for a different program for every?
I can run. CADLink doesn't have drivers for every one of the printers. Like the XP 15000 doesn't have drivers for that yet.
Okay.
But with the three printers that I have, the two 800s and the 1900, there's drivers for those, so I can run my printers with that. I can also run it with AcroRip has drivers for pretty much everything, almost everything. The key is they've got to be at least a 6-channel, have 6 colors, basically a photo printer, where you can use 2 of those colors for white ink, and then the rest would be your CMYK. Strictly do shirts or to other type. You can do anything. Her question, she's asking if you can do strictly shirts, or you can use it on other types of apparel like hats. This print on my hat is DTF. So that's a DTF print. Even though this is polyester, it could have been sublimated. This is a DTF print.
Wow, still crisp and clean.
Yeah, you can do it. You can do it on basically anything. Yeah. On jeans, you can put it on canvas. I do use it for totes. I use it for everything. I've even put it on natural cowhide, natural leather that hasn't been waxed or anything like that yet or colored, and it's durable. I could take my fingernail and scratch at it like there's no tomorrow, and it does not come off. I mean, it is some really durable stuff, and it's still super soft, not much of a hand to it. It's just like it's the thing to have,
game changer.
Especially for us small business owners that, we can't afford those DTG direct to garment machines, or, even a screen printing machine is just so much hassle with burning the screens, and the cleanup alone on those things make not really a mess like flying ink everywhere, but just dealing with the raw ink, out in the open and the emulsion to make the screen. And then you got to have some kind of pressure washer to clean the screen. And I mean, there's a lot to it. So to me, DTF is like the lifesaver for the small business owner that does T-shirts or any type of garment decoration, because you can really do a lot with it.
Wow. So what would be the printer that you would tell someone to use? I mean, being that you do have a wide range, what would be the one you would say, go get?
On a limited budget, I would suggest either if you can find a 1900, to get one of those, because they print faster and they have 8 channels. So you can use 4 channels for white, which contributes to the speed of it because it can put down that much more ink faster. It has a broader spray pattern or print pattern, or a 1400. 1400 seem to be more common. They're a lower end model only because they have 6 channels, so you can only use 2 channels for white ink. They print slower, but the print quality is good. The 1900 also is a really good print quality. A lot of companies sell that L1800. I'm not sure what the deal is. They say that it's a reliable printer, but they have so many more things. They have dampeners that can get clogged up. I see people get problems with ink that flows back from the capping station into those dampers, so they get contaminated. The 1800s are slow and they're expensive. So to me, that's not really an ideal printer. Back when I was first starting, I thought that was the one to have because that's what everybody sold. And I think everybody sold that one because they were plentiful. I think that's the reason why now is why everybody sells them, because there's so many out there. But nowadays, I wouldn't recommend that printer to anybody just because of there's more parts to it, so it's got more problems that can happen. 1400 or a 1900 is a good choice. If you can find a P800 for the $400 or $500, get it, because to me that's the tank. Those big cartridges, they hold 280 milliliters each, which is a good amount of ink. I don't have to fill those very often. I don't have to use assist, so I don't need to worry about the hoses. It's not something else that's laying on the table that's taking up space. Plus, it'll do 17-inch wide sheets, which is really, really good. I mean, a good size print. So my recommendation would be either the 1900 if you can find it, or the 1400. There's not really anything kind of in between that. There's the 1430, the Artistan. That's a good printer too. That has Wi-Fi connectivity. The 1400 and the 1900 don't have Wi-Fi, which is kind of a downfall. That's the only one that I have a cord running to. But all the other printers basically are wireless, and they're all hooked up to this laptop. And I just choose which one that I'm going to print to when I go to print. But yeah, any one of those two, or the P600 is basically a 1900 with a different casing on the outside, but it looks identical. The internals look identical to a 1900, but the P600s they're more costly because of the mod. It's a SureColor, which was like the high-end photo printer. So they're good printers, but if you can find them for the right price, then grab those. They have bigger ink cartridges also, or no, they have the same size ink cartridge because it's pretty much the same head and the same carriage that's in those, just like the 1900s. So that there's a 600. There's the P400, which is similar to the 1900. There's the P600, which is in between the 4 and the 8, and I'm not familiar with that. I haven't seen too much on that model. I don't know if they're just not that available or what the difference is on that one. But the most popular for like the higher end one seems to be like the P800 before you get into like the big 24-inch like a hybrid model that have 2 print heads, and they're basically just a custom-made chassis that run Epson print heads. Those are the ones manufactured in China.
Gotcha.
So talking about price, right? I know you mentioned that you said the film is about 50 cents.
Yeah.
So how much would you say the cost per print for 11 by 17 is with the ink, the powder, and the film?
11 by 17 is probably the only size I print is A3 plus, which is 13 by 19. I've got some A3 sheets, which is pretty close to 11 by 17. And I'd have to say it's probably around just the materials, maybe about 75 cents.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's full color. Wow.
Yeah.
So that's a huge price margin right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, sheesh.
But you have to take in consideration too the amount of ink that you waste when you're doing the cleanings, the print head cleanings, the powder that goes into it, and then the heating time that you put into it to actually cure it. Just the material, like the film and the ink, would be about I'd say about 75 cents. A 13 by 19 would probably be about maybe like $1.80 or 90 cents to $1. And
So when you gang that up, that's about if you put 4 prints on a 13 by 19, that's about a quarter of transfer.
Yeah. Yep.
I gotta get in it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's if you have the printer, it's very cost effective. It's very cost effective. I mean, obviously, there's a lot more labor involved with that, with the curing, and then the software work. You know, what you have to do to get everything lined up and all that stuff. So there's time involved, but I mean, it is definitely has a good profit margin in it, you know, but there's a lot of investment also that you have to put into it besides the equipment, the time, every day that you basically of maintaining it, you get, you know, the wasted material. The biggest thing that people have to understand that I see a lot of people jumping into it without doing any type of research. My prediction in a month or two, there's going to be a lot of unhappy people in the groups about their print head is clogged. It's $1,000 for a new print head. Printers are up for sale because it just didn't work out for them. They didn't realize they had to maintain it. It's not like a sublimation printer where, you know, that thing can sit here for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 days without printing, and I can just go back to it and fire it up, and it'll print pretty good. If that, like I said, if I leave that thing for more than 2 hours, I've got to run a print head cycle, the cleaning cycle, and that's a waste of ink right there. It's like 30 milliliters or something like that of ink wasted. And if you've got cartridges that only hold like 60 or 80 milliliters, that's a good chunk of ink that's gone. Wow. So each printer is different, but like on the 800s, it flushes out about 30 milliliters worth of ink every cleaning cycle. So it's quite a bit. So you do get a lot of waste. You're wasting, whatever material you're using for your waste tank. You got to, you have to change those out or change whatever absorbent material you use. Or like the 1900, it goes to a bottle. I have it plumbed up so it goes to one of my Diet Coke bottles. So the waste ink goes into that, and the other ones actually have tampons. Believe it or not, they have tampons in the waste tanks because they're super absorbent, and I put like 2 of them folded up inside there, and they last for about 3 or 4 days before I have to take those out and then put some other ones in. But it's either that or I have to strip off the plastic and find the hose and then run that to a tank, and it's just easier to use those pads and keep changing those out.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, I guess it's just your personal preference. I always say that those are the women printers because they have those they have those pads, but those are the good. They're actually the good printers of the 3 that I have. They're the most reliable, So they're. Oh, Anthony was asking, how does the 1900 print? It prints really good. The 1900 prints really good. It's a great quality print, and it's fast. It's really fast. That's why I say that would be like my number 1 recommended printer to look for is the 1900 because it prints really fast. It prints faster than the 800s. The 800s don't print very fast. They have a super good quality, but they're slow. Not as slow as the 1400, but they're definitely slower than the 1900. So the 1900 is what I would recommend for if you're looking to get one. If you can't find one, you can find a 1400, which in my opinion the quality is just as good. It's just a lot slower.
Roosevelt Brown asks, I have the 1430 and P800. Are there any conversion instruction videos? That's
the only thing you do for conversion, it's not even really a conversion. You're more of doing a modification. You pull out the ink cartridges, what's in it. First of all, you need to have 2 sets of ink cartridges. What anybody tells you that they're going to say just get 1 set of refillable ink cartridges, and you can do that. But I highly recommend getting 2 sets, and that 1 set has just cleaning solution in it. Now, ink cartridges, refillable cartridges aren't cheap. They're, say, $60 for a set. If you get one of those big ones, they're like $150 for a set for those big squirt gun models. Even some of the SIS systems are up to like $120, $150. But the SIS, you don't need to have two SIS systems. You just need to have a separate set of cartridges and have that cleaning solution in there. And the first thing you do when you get it is make sure you flush out that print head good. You know, maybe, I don't know, say 8 or 10 flushes with that cleaning solution and get all the ink out of that head, because even there'll be dried up ink in there. And you don't want that coming out in your white ink, because that'll show up in the print. And most of the time the channel is like the vivid magenta and the vivid cyan, or the light magenta and the light cyan, and that's where the white ink goes in those channels. So you're gonna see those colors in that if you don't flush it out, or you're gonna waste a lot of ink doing a flush with the ink. So it's like, invest in what you really need to have, or just use the ink to flush it out and hope for the best. That's the same thing like when you basically put the printer in the storage mode. If you're going to leave it for more than a day, you want to put those cartridges in there that have the cleaning solution, and make sure you run a couple flushes to get that cleaning solution in the head and get that white ink out of the head. And then the other part of the conversion or modification you need to do is on the front part of the printer, on the inside where the film rolls through or the paper rolls through, there's little rollers that have spikes on them. They call them pizza wheels. So those little rollers you need to pull out. You got to think about which size paper you're going to use the most, or which size film you're going to use the most. That's one of the reasons why I use 13 by 19, is because you have to leave in a couple rollers on each side of that bracket to hold the film. If you don't, you'll see, like, if you notice, a lot of people say, why on the last 2 inches of my film am I getting this smearing mark? For the ink is just going all over the place. Well, that's because there's nothing holding that film. When it comes out from those rollers from the feed tray, that film is basically just free, just flopping around. So there's nothing holding it down. So most of the time people will have their tray sitting kind of low when it needs to be level or a little bit up, because when those wheels let go, the film will pop up like this, and then it starts hitting the bottom of the print head. So it smears the ink. So you got to leave at least 2. Leave 2 on each side, so it has something to rub against. And usually those 2, the one set ain't going to hit anything because it's in the margin. The other set might roll through the ink a little bit, but if you're putting down the correct amount of ink, you won't get any lines. If you're using way too much ink, you're going to get lines. Your print should come out of the printer where it almost looks like it's dry. If it's super shiny wet, you're using too much ink. So that's one of the keys to look at. The more ink you put down, the more brittle and the more stiff that this is going to feel, because that it's basically just more buildup that's unnecessary. You want enough color to see the color, so it's vibrant, and then enough white to basically give it a backing to cover it up. We're putting down the white ink to replace the white from the shirt, to basically back up those colors and give them their vibrancy. Those colors, you'll see those colors through the white ink when you heat it up. Those colors will come through a little bit, almost kind of not transparent, but you'll see it a little bit. And that's perfectly normal, because it's just when it's curing, that's what happens. But it's still, you can see this, it almost looks neon, and this is just regular ink with the hex code for neon green. So the green really pops out on it. But that's basically the only 2 things you need to do. You can run a tube for your waste tank, like on the 1400s. It's relatively easy to do. I did a little video that I sent to Veronica on 15,000 for putting a tube in for the waste tank on that. When I first got it, I converted it, but it didn't make any difference because the waste tanks on the 15,000, there's no resetters for them yet. So even if you run a tube outside and nothing ever touches that brand new waste tank, it will go through a cycle of so many times that the head is clean, and it'll say it's full. So none of them have like a sensor inside the inside the tank. It's basically goes by counts of what Epson ever decides that if you do 10 head cleanings, that equivalents, I don't know, say 200 milliliters of ink. So that tank is full. So once you hit 10, it says it's done. You got to take it out and replace it, even if it's bone dry. So that chip only has a certain life cycle on it, or the code, it reads the code or something where it says, okay, this is a different chip that we haven't seen before. So that one's good. It reset the counter. But that's on the 1900s and the 1400s and that 1430, they have an ink pad, which basically the ink gets spit into the printer somewhere, and that's not serviceable. So that's really why you want to run a hose in those, because the ink you can't get rid of the waste ink. It stays inside of the printer somewhere. There's foam that's underneath the head that the ink gets absorbed into over if you're looking straight at the printer on the left side at the very end, if you stick a Q-tip down there and touch it, you'll see it actually like the liquid come up, because it's like a little reservoir where the ink, I don't know if Epson expects that stuff just to evaporate or what they expect it to do, but it's just basically in there. But wow. that pad can be replaced, not as often as like the tanks, but the ideal thing is what you want to do is run a hose into a bottle so that it's basically what do they call it, a printer potty. So the ink goes in there and doesn't go inside your printer, because you have to absorb that stuff out of there with a towel. And then there's a resetter. You can reset it through software. You can reset the counter for the ink pad is what it's called on those printers. So putting in the tank isn't that hard to do. It requires some disassembly of the case. But on the 1400 and the 1900, it wasn't difficult to do. I didn't make a video on it, but I'm sure there's some out there. Or if not, that other 1400 I have, I can show again kind of how it's done on that. Anthony, I think he's got a stockpile of 1900s over there. Maybe he can do one on the 1900.
How can I convert a R1900? That's Anthony Alexander. Flawless 615, y'all. What's up, Texas? How you doing tonight? This has definitely been direct to film university. Coffee Power Home said there means something else in Jersey Shore. I'm pretty sure it does. Also from Coffee Powder Home, my paranoid self needs to feel like an expert before I purchase a single thing. That's kind of how I feel. It just seems like it's a lot going on with the parts and
the biggest thing is the maintenance. Is you've got to be prepared to do that mentally and physically. Just get in the habit of doing it. Because that's the key, really. That's the key of keeping it alive. And the maintenance is not difficult, but it does take a little bit of time, and it's something that you need to do. If you don't, I mean, you're gonna basically the printer will get ruined. Your prints won't come out good because the white ink will separate, so you'll get like a real watery looking print, and that's because it's just getting the more liquid part, and the pigment is down at the bottom of the cartridge, and that's the whole reason behind shaking it up, because it separates for some reason. So you want to make sure that stays mixed. They have mixers out there. I think Anthony has one on his that circulates the ink in the cartridge, but it still stays inside the head. So you still need to do the head cleaning to get that ink out of the head. Probably not as, maybe you can get away with just one, but like the 1800, it has a CIS, continuous ink supply system. That's what the CIS stands for. They have that from the factory. So it has those tubes and all that stuff that basically they say that you should, on that dampener, take a syringe and pull the ink from the dampener all the way out. It's from the tube, and pull new ink in through. I don't know if I'm explaining that right. And then take that ink that's in the syringe and put it back in the tank. They're a little bit more to maintain them. That's more of a, kind of a pain in the rear to do, because you have to disassemble part of the head, the cover, to get those dampeners out in order to do that. Because on the bottom side of the dampener, where it plugs in, like where the cartridge would go, that's where you put the syringe in without the tip. And then you draw the ink out of that, which basically is drawing new ink in from the sys through the tube, through the dampener, and then into the syringe. And then you're putting that ink back into the tank, so the mixture stays the same. So I think people got the notion, because of that model, of that maintenance that has to be done on that one, where it got such a bad name about there's so much maintenance. Because to me, pulling the cartridge out, going like this and throwing it back in and then turning the printer on and running a couple print cycles ain't really nothing. I mean, you got to do something, but it's not like taking that thing apart and putting the syringe, drawing the thing through there. And, I can see that taking a half hour to do that every time, you need to do that. So
Coffee says, so far all this needs is more care than a newborn.
That's what I always say. It's like having a kid. You can't leave, it's got needs, and you got to take care of them, because you can't just leave them sit and do their own thing. Otherwise they cause havoc, So, it's basically like you got it, or like a pet, you got to keep feeding it, and it's pretty good on its own most of the time, but it's you gotta watch it. I think the feed just went off on Facebook.
Oh, did? Let me see. No, it's still going.
Oh, there it goes.
This is from Roosevelt Brown. I appreciate you, Roosevelt. 12 Golden Pharaoh. Thanks for the info, South Bay Creations. I just subbed. Last question. The software you mentioned earlier, which do you prefer for the printers that I have? 1430 P800.
Well, you can use, I like CADLink. That's my personal preference, and that's what I would suggest, just because it has a lot more features in it. And those two printers are basically the same that I have, the 800 and the 1400. I had one of those. Actually had two of them. I have another one that's over there, but I had another one that was up and running. And that one went to a friend of mine because they were having problems with theirs. And so anyways, but that's what I was using, was CADLink on that 1400 also, which is the same as the 1430. And it's pretty similar system to the 1900, except the 1900 is basically on steroids. It goes a little faster, and it has more ink channels in it. But CADLink, I would definitely suggest that, because it's the same price as AcroRip, like I said before. They're both $400, and CADLink has way more features in it. You can do a lot more with it, even though most of the graphics editing you're going to do in your program that you use for making your stuff, either Photoshop or Silhouette or Affinity Photo. But if you want to do quick changes or do a quick print, you can pull it in from your computer, bring it in there. You can crop the image, which is helpful, because sometimes you get images that have a lot of white space around them where they're not, when they're exported, they're exported as a whole artboard, which is, could be a pretty big thing with a small image in the middle. So you have to crop that down. Otherwise, if you throw that on the sheet to print it, it thinks that whole thing is an image, even though it's just going to print the center, but you can't gang up more images on it because it's taken that space. It's basically reserve that space for that blank white area, because it thinks that's going to be a whole printed image. So in AcroRip, you can't crop it. You have to take it back out of there, open up your photo editing program. But in CADLink, you can crop it. There's a function to do it. You can even tile images. If you're going to print a larger image than what you have, you can tile it. And I think Veronica did a video on that when she was doing with her white toner. She did a Bart or Homer Simpson head where she tiled it, but it split it kind of like zigzagged, so it didn't have just a straight line down it. When she put the two together, you couldn't see where the seam was. And that was, I believe that she did that in CADLink, the CADLink for the white toner.
And then, speaking of Veronica Roosevelt, she has several videos on converting the 1430. Her YouTube is Iron Designs 813. Check her out, man. I got a 1430. I'm gonna be converting here when I when I get around to it.
Yeah.
But she got a lot of videos on it, man. That printer is actually pretty dope. So check her out.
Yeah, that's a good printer. It prints good. It's got a good print quality to it.
That's Iron Designs 813.
Yeah. Iron Designs 813 about she's got a lot, even for sublimation videos, she's got a lot of good information.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
Before
She's very detail oriented.
Before I found the squad, I found her, and I've been following her for, I don't know, the past year or so, I would say. And found out that where did I find her? I found her on YouTube, and then I found her on Facebook. And I believe I invited her over to the squad. She was in it or something like that. Or I told her about it on her video or something like that.
Yeah.
You know? Or one of her comments, because she was complaining about I'm not going to say what it was. I don't want to bash any companies, but she was mentioning something on there, and I think there was a lot of people from the squad that watched that video.
Yeah.
It's two papers. It's two different.
Yeah. So, but yeah, she's a great teacher. She does a lot of experiments, and she doesn't, she's not affiliated with anybody. Well, not anymore, at least.
Yeah, we got her coming. She's coming soon.
Yeah, so she's, watch her, sign up for her YouTube and watch her stuff. Even if you're not doing DTF, if you're doing sublimation for printable vinyl and stuff like that, she was like my go-to channel that I went to. She turned me on to a lot of different manufacturers for printed vinyl and stuff.
And she might be the only person that got more printers than Anthony Alexander.
Yeah, I think so.
She got the big boy too. She got the big boy.
Yeah, you just got a big one too, a big wide format.
Wow.
So talk about those fluorescent DTF inks. I saw images you put, and those things look sick.
They're pretty cool. They've got to they only work with a black light, so they have to have a black light to activate. They don't glow in the dark by themselves. So they're ideal for like a party environment or like a bar or something like that. So it would be more, kind of a gimmicky thing, I guess, if you knew you were going to go to a club, or for the younger generation that does raves and stuff like that. I mean, that would be perfect, for prints like that. For everyday use, it'd still be cool, but they're a lot more expensive than regular ink. You don't have to do anything special to get them to work or anything like that, but the price is different. I won't say a lot more expensive, but it's more expensive than regular ink, and it's two colors, the magenta and the yellow. Those are the two colors.
Oh, I'm sorry for cutting you off.
That's all right.
I just wanted to ask, is that you getting that here in the U.S. or is that another overseas purchase?
I got it from here in the U.S. from one of our members, actually, that has the Etsy store. She sent it to me to try it out, and she has some on the way right now. So she should have it in stock, and I think by the end of the week or next week. So that's Chanel Michaels from yeah. So she has it. She's the one. I got that from her, and she's going to be having it in the store. She was waiting for me to try it to tell her if it was any good or not, if she should get it, and I gave her the thumbs up on it. It's pretty cool stuff.
And she's the one that was converting 7720 to do DTF, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
She was the first one that I seen do it.
Yep. Just about to say that. That's
Yeah.
But that was without white ink, right? There was no white ink.
There's no white ink.
White ink. But see,
no white ink, but you can still use cotton. You can use cotton with it, so you weren't limited to just the white polyester. You can use white cotton shirts, which was nice. So that was the benefit to it. But without the white ink channel, you couldn't use the dark color shirt.
Yeah.
it was still a good option. It's still, I mean, it still is a good option for people that just don't like polyester, but they're stuck with a sublimation printer. You can put those colors in, and the colors, the CMYK doesn't have the tendency to clog or separate like the white does.
Yeah.
I don't think I would recommend them for an EcoTank printer. Somebody was asking that before for like a 2270 or something like that, the EcoTanks, just because they're not easily serviceable. There would be a lot more involved to, if something did happen, if the ink dried up in there, you'd have a lot more problems trying to clean that out than as opposed to just cartridges. You know, you would have your print head and your tank and those lines and everything else inside there that you'd have to deal with. But I mean, go ahead.
Roosevelt, man, appreciate you. Thank you, brother. Thank you for the support.
Out of the two processes, I know you've done a lot of sublimation because you do the tumblers, and out of DTF, which one is your favorite? I mean, which one ranks supreme?
DTF.
All day.
All day.
Yeah.
All day and twice on Sundays, man.
Is that because of the restriction of polyester, though, with sublimation?
It's because of the restrictions of sublimation, because of just being able to print on light colors, you know, and you're stuck basically with one fabric with the polyester or polyester blend. So that's why DTF to me is like, it's like the one and only, you know, if you were going to do just one print process, what would it be? It would be, to me, it would be DTF because it's somewhat affordable. Once you get the printer and the software are the biggest expenses. But the ink isn't really, it is expensive, but it's not super expensive. You got to get the powder and you got to get the film. But as long as you're not just messing around with it and wasting film, like happens to me once in a while when I forget there's a sheet in the printer. But if you're using it to make shirts to make money, it's definitely a money maker because you don't have to outsource anything to another shop that will do, you know, black, even single color shirts that just have too much weeding to do with HTV, or if you're going to do multiple colors or like a photorealistic shirt, you can print photo quality images with that DTF. Let me grab one image.
I just wish that the RIP software would, I can find one of them that fell off the truck deals. You know what I'm talking about?
This is DTF.
Yeah, Tupac. I've seen that. That's nice.
That's dope.
So I mean, you can get photo quality prints with DTF.
And that's not registrars, right? That's just straight print.
That's just straight print. Same thing with this. This one is super popping.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now this was drawn by that lady I was telling you about earlier, Mike, from Terra.
Yeah.
This was drawn by her.
That's dope.
Same thing with this image here. This is like they call it like an old school bootleg concert type shirt. Man, I got messed up with the camera. Here we go. So this is like one of her, you know, one of her designs or one of her drawings that she does. And this Eminem. But I mean, my point is that it does photorealistic prints as opposed to doing vinyl, you know, with printable vinyl.
So, man, the leather. Talk about the DTF and the leather.
Man, you can do if you can get some patches. I think there's some companies that sell blank leather patches like for hats. You can print DTF onto leather. You can do all, I mean, really the possibilities are endless with the leather combination and with the printing. Laser engraving on leather is cool. A lot of people like that look. I personally don't really care for it because it's kind of burnt. It's kind of a burnt look. I mean, it is permanent, but having that print on there, I wish I still had the piece of leather. I don't know what I did with it, but I'll make another one and I'll post it up in the squad. I mean, it looks great. I was going to cut some patches with my laser cutter and make some for hats and then just, you know, offer those. But I got too many irons in the fire, man. I got too much stuff going. I don't even have, time to mess with that laser. I mean, it would be a cool thing to add, but I know there's companies out there that sell them that are ready to be pressed or heat pressed on, where you can add something to it. You know, either if you're going to tool it, leather you can paint with acrylic paint, but with the DTF print, you can heat transfer it on there, and it's just almost indestructible. Like I said, I was scraping at it real hard with my nail, and I couldn't get the print to come up. So, yeah, I mean
Yeah, I saw that video, man. That's dope.
You can do a lot of stuff with that. So you can, you would be able to print like on like notebook covers.
Yeah.
So if it had a leather cut, like the higher end ones have a leather cover, you could use that and put a print on it with the DTF. So, it opens up a lot more opportunity.
Yeah.
Even using that little handheld iron. I think those hats that I posted up in the squad, I did it with that little hobby iron that is similar to the Cricut one, but it was from a cheaper one from Amazon. Mm-hmm. But like, I was thinking about doing like getting a pair of, I don't know, either Converse or Vans, the canvas shoes, and then putting some prints on that and with that little iron.
Hey, so I was on TikTok today. I saw a dude make a pair of custom Converse. So you know how the shape of the Converse, he took the blue painter's tape, cut it out, and then put it on leather, and then traced around it.
Yeah.
And did like drew on it, sketched on it, and did like an Oregon Ducks theme on it. And then I didn't catch how he attached it back to the side of the shoe. But that was so dope, man. I'm gonna try to find it. I'm gonna share it to the squad actually.
Yeah,
that might spark something for you. You got all that leather work and stuff out there.
I've seen guys do that where they take some of those. I forgot what brand of the shoe is, but they'll trace that top panel or those side panels and make something out of leather with a design or whatever, and then attach it down to the shoe again. So it's like you're saying, that's pretty dope. I mean, it's really cool. It's the creativity of some people are just blow my mind what they can come up with,
Yeah, definitely.
Coffee Powder Home says, a bit off topic, but do y'all own laser cutters / engravers? I do not.
I don't. Jason does, right?
Yeah.
That's what you've been talking about. Is right there. You want to get rid of it, right?
Yeah.
What's up, Gina?
The big yellow box right there.
See, man, I'm jealous of Rolando, man. I'd be at your house. I'd be like, Jason, I'm on my way, man.
Man, let's bust some shirts out together.
He's just down the street from me, which is kind of cool.
I know. I'm telling you, if I was on, I'd be like, Jason, I'm on my way, man. That would be dope, man.
I told him if he wanted to come over, I'll give him, hands-on training on how to make tumblers. And he's been busy with shirts too, which is good. Tumblers are good. You can make good money off of them, but I think the shirts you make more profit from them because the cost is less of the materials. Even the shirt blank is less than a tumbler.
Yeah.
So it's kind of up in the air. I remember Mike asked me last time if I had to choose one, tumblers or shirts. I said tumblers. I might reconsider that answer now.
With that DTG,
yeah. Now,
try a tumbler one day. I got an oven.
Yeah.
Try one day. Yeah.
I you know me, man. I got a little bit of everything, man. I just be buying. I just be having stuff, and they're dust collectors. Don't even trip,
Yeah.
I'm gonna try a tumbler one day, though, for real.
Jason's located in California.
San Diego.
South end of San Diego, close to the border of Mexico.
Bashuni. What's up?
So Jason know about the chicken thighs. They use chicken thighs down there, don't they, Jason?
Chicken necks, man. They got chicken necks.
Chicken necks are good. I love chicken necks.
In Spanish, they call them
This coming from the man that don't eat the thighs?
Man,
well, you can't even compare a neck to a thigh. Thigh is like shoe leather. The hell?
I'm not talking about the funky drumstick. Man. Come on.
This guy said necks are good. Necks are really, really good.
Yeah,
I remember like growing up, I grew up, my grandmother would cook them, fry them, or put them in some. I love necks. So you guys know that this chicken thigh debate is going to go on for probably every live for the rest of our lives. You know,
The most official. I got to get the head count on this. I can't be the only one.
You know, and nobody mentioned the chicken livers, and those are good.
I don't like livers or gizzards.
Yeah, I can't do it.
I'll chew on a gizzard. Like if they're fried, I'll chew them and spit them out. But I can't.
The chicken livers. Growing up in Chicago, we had Brown's Chicken, and Brown's Chicken actually sold breaded chicken liver, deep fried chicken livers.
Yeah.
It was good.
You said ew.
No, man, they were good. They were good. And then when we used to go fishing a lot, and we would use chicken livers for bait for catfish in the
That's
river.
what we use.
Oh yeah.
We would use
That's
chicken
about.
livers.
That's like chicken thighs would work too.
All right.
But I was surprised nobody said chicken liver on that. That's
Yeah.
I mean, it's been years and years since I've had them, but growing up, we had liver and onions, for dinner, for cow liver, and that.
Yeah, I never liked it.
That was
My
good.
my grandma used to cook
Grandmother,
that.
she used to make that. Yeah,
Tastes like iron. Tastes like iron. I don't know. I don't like it.
Pretty much, in a real way. Roosevelt Brown says Jason Kelly in the hood or in the house. I'm in Oregon now, but I'm good. Good old Watts. Y'all making me hungry.
Where you at in Oregon, Roosevelt?
Peaches High says she's allergic to Florida and
California.
California. Straight.
What is it? The nice weather? Nice weather you're allergic to? The weather out here.
Oh, Portland. Yeah. Couple hour and a half away from me.
Oh, that's cool.
And when you meet up with them, bring some chicken thighs.
Nah, bro. Bring me some wings and some breast from Popeye.
All the dry parts. What's wrong with you? Wow.
I think somebody was asking about how to convert a 1900.
Yeah, I'm in Eugene, bro. I live in Eugene, Roosevelt.
Eugene, and
Right down the street.
Oh, you're in Oregon too, aren't you?
Yo, Eugene. I just told the whole world where I'm at, but I'm over here. I live in a good part of town, though.
That was Anthony that asked about converting, I believe.
Where is Anthony? He's on here? I ain't seen him.
He out here.
You've been quiet.
Yeah, as quiet as kept.
Which is
Probably eating.
Best uni.
for him. He's quiet.
Shout out to the best uni.
He said, my mom loved liver.
Yeah, man, I'm cool.
Yeah, me too.
I like liver. I did. I mean, your taste changes over time. I haven't had it in a long time.
So, man, like with DTF, man, where do you see DTF going with all the capabilities?
Man.
You know what I mean? Do you anticipate any like big changes, like it becoming an easier process or any of that type of stuff? Or do you happen to have any answers on that?
I hope that they develop some new ink with, and just by new ink, I mean like the white ink, so it's a little more, I guess, friendly, or it has a longer like a shelf life. The shelf life is a year when it's stored in the bottles for the DTF ink. But honestly, if you're running a DTF printer, if you've got ink sitting around for more than a month, you might as well get rid of the printer because you're wasting more time cleaning it than anything,
Yeah.
I go through liters of ink with mine. I get the big bottles, and it's just, especially white. The white uses twice as much as the CMYK
Yeah.
because the white goes over the whole print on the backside.
Yeah.
So they say it's a 2-to-1 deal. So if you buy 500 milliliters of CMYK, you're going to need to get at least 1,000 milliliters of 1 liter of white because it uses at least, at the very least, twice as much, if not more. You know, because it covers the whole print. And but I think if anything, I think that's going to be the biggest changes we're going to see for DTF right now is going to be the inks, the different formulas coming out, especially for the white. I know there's a couple American companies that are making ink now for DTF. I think Kodak is one of them.
And a bunch of those are hot pills, right?
Yeah, and those also I know
DuPont too.
They recalled one of them. I think it was the DuPont or something like that. The ink, the white ink was way too thick. It was messing up printers, and so that's the biggest thing I can see changing right now. But other than that, I don't know what else they can do. Unless they make like Epson, if they come out with a DTF specifically made for DTF printing, kind of like they did with sublimation, because of the demand, I can see that happening. Is for me, my next step will be like a wide format commercial dual head printer would be my next step. I mean, I definitely wanted the shaker dryer machine just to speed up my process. But 24-inch printer would sure be nice. I can probably get rid of 2 of those printers, keep one for just the small stuff, and then have that 24-inch printer running.
So what model would you like be looking for in that situation?
Man, there's the only thing that's I shouldn't say the only thing, but they're all manufactured overseas right now. They all pretty much use Epson print heads that's compatible with that water-based ink. As far as models, I didn't really research it too much. I know that like the ones the DTF Superstore carries supposedly has a good reputation, like the Audrey, I think it's called. But those, they're like 20 grand. I mean, they're expensive. Yeah. They're like, it's like buying a Roland, I mean, it's like, they're super expensive. Even if you go direct, it's cheaper, but you still have to pay shipping and the import fees for one, for a big printer. I mean, I don't know what I would do. My thought process behind it was this laser has to go first before I can even consider to start researching something for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be a next step for me. Would be that.
So what would you do with the 24-inch DTF printer?
It would be basically for selling transfers, like Top Transfers or like basically what those guys do. I mean, I still do T-shirts, and I do a good majority of selling transfers and also T-shirts. Being able to provide transfers to other makers is, it's pretty cool because, like Roland, he was close, so he was able to come over and pick them up. Yeah. So, I mean, that was kind of nice, and I got to, I get to meet and talk to other makers that, are like-minded individuals, and so I try to help people out. Usually, when somebody orders transfers from me, I usually throw them 1 or 2 extra ones for free. I don't say nothing about it, but I just put them in there as kind of like, it just in case you mess one up, you've got the extra, because it's, I mean, just like a courtesy, I guess, to give a little freebie.
I'm going to be with you in the next few days, man. I'm just waiting on the photo of what I had sent you the other night. Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Yeah, there's, like I said. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Like I said, they do photo quality prints, so anything is possible with those.
Yeah. Coffee Powered House is over here campaigning for that laser.
That laser's looking for a home. It's big though. I mean, it's 6 feet wide and probably every bit of 6 feet wide and probably 5 feet deep.
Yeah.
It's not a glow forge, that's for sure. You could probably fit 10 glow forges on top of that thing. It's a big monster.
DTF is direct to film. DTG is direct to garment. So, do you find that there's a difference in the two?
I've never actually touched a DTG print, but from what I heard, that DTG print is actually got a softer hand because the ink is sprayed into the fabric. But I've never actually touched one. I'm going off of what people say. I think that there's a limit with DTG as far as printing capabilities. Like you can't really put a hat on that table that they have. I don't know if the table is adjustable height wise. I think even trying to do a sleeve on the table would be difficult. Trying to get it lined up just right on that, so you're printing directly in the center of it. I think DTG is more limited, but I think the feel is a little nicer. The inks are almost the same. They're both like a heat activated type ink. I think the DTG ink is a little bit thinner just because of the way that it's sprayed. I say sprayed because there's the nozzles in the print head actually spray down the ink. So it's printed, directly to the garment where it has a chance to absorb into the garment before it's cured. My preference would be DTF for the direct to film just because of the versatility of what you can do with it.
Right. Then there's no pre-treat neither. You just
no pre-treats. No.
You just press.
Yeah.
So you got a vinyl cutter?
Yeah.
That's like a dinosaur now. What the hell are you gonna do with that?
Man, it's collecting dust.
I bet it is, man.
I was thinking about. How
you gonna talk about vinyl like that, man? Come on.
I got a vinyl cutter. I'm saying he got all them DTFs. He ain't weeding no more vinyl for the rest of his life.
Vinyl. The only time I think I would use vinyl is making a sign. But as far as even like single color prints, like a white single color print.
Yeah.
I would even do that with DTF also just because of the time savings.
Yeah.
If you're going to do names for like jerseys, you can get a lot of names ganged up on one sheet and print that out, in say 5 minutes, as opposed to cutting the sheet out on vinyl would be 5 minutes plus the weeding, Vinyl's still good. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Vinyl has been around. It's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah,
but my personal preference is I would just, I would go with the DTF just because it's more convenient. It's quicker.
That was weird.
My vinyl cutter will probably end up at home with my daughter, I think, because if I don't really see myself doing signs.
Put it in a toy box.
Yeah, he did.
But it's the 24-inch, so finding a space for it at home might be a little bit difficult, where that she can actually utilize it. So I'm not sure what the lifespan on that vinyl cutter is going to be quite yet. I don't know if she's even interested in messing with that, making decals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, she's into drawing. She does a lot of really good artwork. She's very good at that. So I think it's something she might be able to get into. I'm trying to get her into where she's drawing on the iPad, and then we can print her designs on a shirt.
That's actually pretty dope, man. I watched some videos. I'm gonna give me an iPad one day.
Yeah,
they're pretty dope for that. That's the only reason I get one is for art. Yeah,
I've got. I don't know where mine's at right now. I think it's on the charger, but I have one with the pencil, and I'm suck at drawing. But on that, it doesn't make it easy. But like I can't draw.
Fix it though.
for the life of me, my hand, does kind of like
Yeah.
that. But with that thing, you can turn on that
Yeah.
and draw a smooth line.
That's why I want one right there.
Yeah.
I saw it.
Oh man, I love it. When I get, sometimes late at night when I get the opportunity, I'll grab that thing and I'll just start just sketching, just making lines or whatever. I don't even know what I'm doing, but it's just like so smooth, and I really would like to learn how to use it more. But
yeah, it's dope.
Maybe if I can get my daughter to learn to do it more, then she can teach me.
I did have a question from Anthony Alexander. He said, "So what about that 1900? What about the R1 900? How does it print?"
Oh, it prints good. It prints fast and it prints really good. That's the one that I would suggest for the people starting out looking to get into it. Is look for those 1900s if you can find it. If you can't find it, then I would suggest the 1400 or the 1430. Either one of those, they're similar. If you find a 1430, that would be a preference. Go to. Come on, buddy, get out of the way.
I saw 1430 going for $2,500.
Yeah, they're when they get converted, they get to be really expensive. Like those.
No, this was just the 1430.
Oh man!
Like $2,500. I sold it to Mike. Remember, $2,500 for that thing.
Oh my god!
Sheesh. Yeah.
On Amazon.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why they hit you with that markup.
You gonna pay that markup with Amazon. We got a few comments, y'all, on Facebook and YouTube. Oh, booming.
I'm trying to pull it up now. Hold on, my computer's acting up.
Rolando said, "Hey, I did some vinyl today. Laugh out loud. I ain't forgot about it."
Roosevelt said, DTG is awesome. Field can print on hats and shoes with attachments. It's a hassle. My Viper is in storage waiting to get scrapped. Damn.
Oh man,
that hurt.
Man. That's no good. Those things are expensive. I know you can convert those things over to do DTF, but to me it seems like if you're going to do DTF, I would sell that thing, get what you can out of it, and then just get you a DTF printer. Just because those things are so expensive, the DTGs. If you don't find yourself using it for DTG and you want to do DTF prints, I don't know if there's a hybrid ink that would do both. There might be, where you can still use, just put a sheet of film on there, tape it to the table, and then print it out for like a DTF. Somebody did
Omniprint.
That, but I don't know.
Omniprint's got it. Yeah. They got DuPont inks, and I guess they did like some type of formula where now they're advertising where you can do DTF on a DTG.
Yo.
Oh, there we go.
Stan got a video. Stan did that video about that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Okay.
What was I about to say? Oh, another fun fact: the 1430 can actually be converted to DTG.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
There's a few. I've seen several videos on YouTube about it.
yeah, I know. Like that 14. Well, the 800s. There's a couple of them that they use for that, where they just add that table. Basically, it's like a CNC table underneath it that moves back and forth. While it's doing the print, acts like the paper feeder, but it's the table.
Oh,
I
that's
got you,
cool.
Mike T's. Money. We'll send donuts, Paris, my son, Andy L. Brown. Y'all know I'm the king of butcher names. Was on the football team at U of O. He is now the facility choir director. Let's network.
That's dope. Yeah, man. I'm here, man. I used to live right by the U of O. I don't live over there no more, but I used to hate it living over by the U of O. Oh my God. It's a 24-hour, 7-day a week party.
Sheesh. Yeah. So, do you find that you're making a lot more money than you would if you was just doing ETF transfers versus tumblers, or like is that equal? How's that working for you?
I think it's like I added it to my services, the DTF. It definitely opens up a lot more of the customer base because I'm not really just selling to the end user now for a shirt or for a tumbler. I could sell to makers with that are also doing shirts and help them out get their printing done quicker with a more affordable solution, and with lower minimums than most companies. Just because I know when I was looking to get prints made, I wanted to get some like neck tags to start with, but the minimum order kind of put it to be too much, to have. So it's like having too many. That would have been too many to have, I think, with the amount of shirts that I actually did at the time. So I'm trying to make it where I'm helping people out that have similar situations like myself to make it where their product is more professional, or I shouldn't say more professional. They can do their products in other options besides sublimation or vinyl and still be affordable, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So what's your minimum?
My minimum is 3 sheets. So 3 by 17 by 13 by 19 sheets is my minimum. So you need to buy 3 of them, and they can be 3 different sheets altogether. It doesn't have to be 3 sheets with the same thing on it. It can be, one thing on one sheet. It can be a gang of images. It can be 2 bigger images. And then the next sheet can be a sheet full of neck tags, or half with neck tags and half with something. It doesn't have to be the same. I know with some companies, you got to buy 20 and it's all the same image, and you can't gang it on a sheet. You can only get, one image on that sheet, and they're quality really good, but the price, for some people that only have 5 or 10 shirts to do, 20 isn't an option. That's just too much money.
And so how much would a 13 by 19 sheet run you?
Right now, I have them for $7.
Can't beat that.
Yeah.
I'll be hitting you up soon.
And that's a sale that's not going to last forever. It's basically a sale price for a lot of people that haven't tried DTF, where they can get their foot in the door and feel it. Because you're basically out, I think it's like a $27 investment altogether with shipping. Shipping's like $8 for priority mail. And you can ship up to, I think, 20 transfers for the same price. Because it's like the weight wise doesn't really change that much up to 20 transfers. So it's I try to make it affordable because I know it's not really the end user that's getting it. The person that's getting it is still trying to make money to feed their family.
Right.
So I'm trying to make it where it's affordable to them, and they can bring their business to the next level by offering a full color print at a reasonable price and still be able to do, those small 5 shirt or even 3 shirt orders with a full color print. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm not trying to save the world, but I'm just trying to help people out.
Man. That's good, though. That's dope.
There when I was in that situation, how I felt when I was trying to get, full color transfer or even just neck tags for my stuff, and I felt like it was out of reach, or I had to put more money into it, and I wasn't even sure if, say, like the neck tags, I had to buy 10 sheets, and it was a lot of money for 10 sheets worth of neck tags. I mean,
Yeah.
what am I gonna do with all those neck tags?
Yeah.
I mean, so I mean, that's my theory behind it. I know some people say that I'm undercharging, but like I said, it's a sale price right now. I don't know how long that's going to last. But I'm just trying to help people out because it's new. So I'm trying to get people more familiar with what DTF is. And even some people, if they really want just one print, I guess I can run them, one print if they're going to pay the shipping on it. And I would probably charge $12 for a single print just because of the time of setting it up and all that, just basically doing it for a single print. But it's not to your benefit because of the cost of the shipping to send one print is.
Might as well just get the 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you package and mail your DTF prints? That's Marlon Deadpool. Dude.
In a tube, in a shipping tube. I used to send them in like a try to find flat envelopes to send them, but man, that's to find a 13 by 19 cardboard envelope that's flat, that will stay flat. Like I think they're called stay flats. I couldn't find anything for less than $3 a piece, it was a lot of money for an envelope. So I used the Priority Mail triangular mailers. They're like they fold up into a triangle and they're like 24 inches long. And I roll them in a big roll. And then I put them inside of a Ziploc baggie, put them in there with those air cushions that everybody gets from Amazon. When Amazon fills up the box with air cushions, with the one small product in the middle.
Yeah.
I save all those air cushions and I reuse it.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I don't never buy packing material because Amazon supplies that for me for free.
Yeah. They really do though.
How do we order from you, man? What's your link? How do we get
You got to just send me a message. I don't really have like my website. I was telling Mike it's been there for 8 months and I just haven't had the time. I'm a one-man band over here and my helper, he's right here. He's always taking naps. Okay, where is he? See him there? Oh, now he's trying to hide. He's embarrassed. There he is. That's my number one employee, and he's always sleeping on the job.
Yeah, man.
It's hard for me to do everything, and that's if it's not a necessity or basically not an order to get out the door, then it kind of gets pushed off to the side, like the website. And it costs me more time because I have to interact with each customer for every single order, even like for a tumbler order. Even if they're just ordering a stock tumbler, I still need to interact with that customer to get their email address, to manually put in the invoice and PayPal. So
are you doing much of all the other stuff with all the DTG stuff going on?
Well, I still do the tumblers. I'm still doing. I shipped out 8 of them today, so I still sell the tumblers. I haven't really stopped selling those. Like I said, I'm just adding this to what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
I don't know if that'll take over my business right now. If it did, I wouldn't be hurt about it because the profit wise, I think they're about the same. I don't know if there's less initial cost involved as far as like inventory wise. Like the tumblers, depending on where you get them from, they're about $9. And if you stock 100 of them, that's a lot of money to stock. Yeah, if I stock 900 sheets of film as opposed to 900 tumblers, it's a lot less money.
Right.
A lot less money out front. That I know these will sell eventually, but that's just money that's just basically sitting there that is waiting.
Yeah,
it's
waiting to be made.
Yeah. So I've got more opportunity, I think, with the DTF because of me making my own shirts for customers and then also providing transfers to other makers. So
with the DTF and the full color, typically what are you selling the shirt for?
Like $25.
Oh Lord, you're killing me. Oh Lord.
Why? What do you charge?
I charge 30 for vinyl.
Oh man. Oh man. Well, see, I'm still learning my way with making shirts because that's still the relatively. It's like me with tumblers. I charge $30 to $35 for a tumbler. There's a lot of people that sell them for 20.
Yeah.
Same reaction. Like, what are you doing? Why are you selling it so cheap? Because they just don't know.
Yeah.
And that's like with me. I mean, when I do shirts for people, when it's like not a production run, but a bigger run, like 20 shirts, it's cheap. It's cheaper than $25 a shirt, just because there's multiples of the same shirt.
Mm-hmm.
But I still have my pricing nailed down. If it's a custom shirt, then yeah, it's going to be more money. If it's, like a single one-off shirt, a custom, it would be more money. But if it's just like an everyday, not really an everyday, but like say like a stock design, like those images that I showed you, if somebody said they wanted a shirt with that lady on it, that Bailey, whatever her name is, if they wanted a shirt, it would be $25 because that image was already done and I don't have to do anything with it. I just basically print it and press it and I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So maybe that we can bring that up for a discussion in squad about what people are pricing. And since DTF is similar to DTG, I guess it would be comparable price wise, except DTG is very expensive for the machine. But I don't know what the cost is to have a shirt. Come here. What's the matter with you? Get over here.
I was just watching Hard and Hustle, and he was like, I think it's about $1 per print.
$1 per print.
Oh, I forgot to watch that video. Thank you for reminding me.
Mm-hmm.
I need to watch that.
So, what would you say is the average time to make a DTF print, from like loading it into the software to printing it to coding it and all that? How long do you think it would take?
Probably takes about 8 minutes.
That's not bad.
8 to 10 minutes, right around there. It takes about probably a good, 3 or 4 minutes for the film to print. I haven't really timed it, but I know it's not fast by any means. It takes time. It's not like you're printing out shipping labels where it's like what and comes out. So
a lot faster than vinyl. A lot faster than vinyl, and layering it and all that.
So,
it's a lot faster than vinyl.
So when you print it out, I saw there's a wait time before you actually add the powder. Is that true?
I think that's personal preference. I think because, like I was saying earlier about the ink, when you print, okay, think about it this way: those industrial machines that print those printers that do, say, production machines, where it comes basically out of the printer and then it goes right into the film shaker or the powder shaker directly. Doesn't wait because that's
right.
It's a loss of time.
Right.
The key is dialing in your percentages of your ink where it almost looks like it's dry when it comes out. It has like a matte finish on top of the white layer that's on top of it. If you're getting a shiny finish where it looks wet, you got too much ink. And I think that's when people are waiting because they're waiting for the powder. It's going to hold more powder, and then it's going to make it feel like a heavier print because that's more material you're putting onto the print, which is getting transferred to the shirt. So if you let it dry, they say 5 or 10 minutes. I go from the printer to the powder. Because I believe that, in my opinion, I have my printers dialed in pretty good. I've got my settings down pretty good with the ink that I use and the printers that I use. My settings, a lot of people say, what are your settings? What are your settings? Well, it could be different from printer to printer. Printer models are going to be different, and then also depends on your ink. One manufacturer ink is going to be different than another. Not only with color-wise, but also consistency of the thickness of it. Even like when you switch ink, like when you put new ink in, it could be a little bit thicker than the other ink that you're using. So you might have to adjust it, and that's all part of that learning curve to get everything dialed in.
Right.
Basically, like I said, you want it when it comes out of the printer, you want it to have like a matte finish where it doesn't have any shine to it. Anything more than that, then it's too much ink. I know people say you got to have enough ink, to hold the powder, because the white ink is what's key that helps bind everything together.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the binder between the CMYK, the color ink, and the powder. That's what makes those two jive together.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if you have too much of it, it's going to hold too much. It's going to hold too much powder. And if once you play around with it and you start using it, you'll see the difference. You'll be able to tell the difference between, like, I have a couple shirts that I did from the beginning. They felt really thick. The print felt thick, and I was like, "What the heck? Why does this feels heavier than vinyl? I don't get what am I doing?" And as time went on, I kind of figured out, like, okay, that's too much ink. Why do I have ink puddling up? I'm all the way at 100%. What's going on? And then I would dial that down, and there's not really any good videos out there that really tell you. It's probably because of so many different printer models out there. There isn't really like a standardization to it.
Yeah.
It's kind of trial and error, but you really like with your printers, you need to go through all those little testing phases to make sure that you get those dialed in. And it's going to cost you because you're going to waste film and you're going to waste ink doing it. But I always say start out low, like say 35% of your color ink of the CMYK and then of the white. And I know that some people are probably saying, well, what does he mean 35%? When you're in the RIP software, you'll see there's percentages of what your ink is. Mm-hmm. And that's basically telling the software telling the printer how much ink to put out, from a wide open nozzle to closing the nozzle down to a certain amount. And
how many prints do you print a day, would you say, just off the top?
I think one of those printers will do 50 or more. They're about 50. They're about, say, on the long side, like 5 minutes if it's a full page. It depends on how big the print is. So, I mean, it all depends really. I think was it Veronica? She did 80 the other day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In a few hours. So it all just depends on you also, of how what else you've got going on. If you're just jumping back and forth between those two printers going, you can produce a lot. Same thing with tumblers. Like I can do 100 of these in a day. That's a lot of tumblers with wrapping them, taping them, shrink wrapping them, and cooking them. But the more you do, the more you kind of get into the swing of it. But it really depends. I think 50 is probably the most that I've done, just with counting off of the top of my head. But it definitely wasn't like maxed out at full bore, trying to do as many as I could.
Mm-hmm.
But they can put out. They're slow, but they can still put out quite a bit.
What powders have you used? I know they got the white powder, the black powder, and they got like another one that's like rubberized.
I think that black powder is a gimmick. That's what I think. I've got that stuff, and they say it's supposed to be to reduce dye migration.
Dye migration, yeah.
And I've used it, and I mean, I'm not going to say that it stopped the dye from migrating. I haven't had a problem yet with dye migration, but I haven't really printed on like a red color shirt or a dark blue shirt with an all white print. Mm-hmm. I think that's where really you can benefit from it. Even with the white shirts, the black shirts, people say to use the black powder on it, but really between the black and the white powder on a black shirt, I don't see a difference because the powder melts and it's like a transparent almost. So you don't really, all the excess powder, you want to knock it off. If you got still powder on the film when you're pressing it, when you do that second press, that powder will disappear. Like if it's around, like say the edges or in between the text, you'll get a little bit of powder hanging around there. So you'll get rid of that on your second press. But to me, I just use the white powder. And where I get it from, it doesn't say like a medium or a fine, or like I know some places have a medium powder, a stretchy powder. Um, they have different, different consistencies. I don't know what the one is that I use, if it's considered a medium or a fine, but it works good. It works good for my application, and but the difference between the black and the white is basically they say it stops dye migration. You know, that's what they say the difference is. But I have a bag of it up there, and I've used it a handful of times, but most of the time I'm pressing on black shirts, so I just used the white powder. You know, I've went through a couple bags of that, and I haven't had any issues with it yet.
So what would you compare it to, like a super color or like the ultra color, or some of the transfers from top transfers? How would you compare the ones that you do to compare to theirs?
I'd say that they're all pretty similar. I mean, I think they're like super color and top transfers, like ultra color. I think there's some form of DTF that they're printing up. You know, it's comes from some kind of printer, as opposed to some of the ones from top transfer that are plastisol that are actually screen printed. So I think it's the difference is in the ink formulas that's being used as far as feel and stuff like that. They're all pretty secretive on the methods that they use, but it's a printer of some sort, and it's some kind of ink that they're using. And I think it's just a matter of the formula that they're using. They could just have a dual head printer that's printing out on large sheets. But nobody knows, because I mean, that's part of their business secrets, which is fine. But I think it's some type of DTF. And as far as feeling goes, I think they're all feel about the same. I mean, in honesty, I mean they're all good products. Supercolor is a good product. They produce a really nice print. Top Transfers is a good product. The only one I heard that's bad is that, what is it, F&F or something like that, that were peeling, those ones that were peeling.
F&M.
I didn't have any issues with them. Yeah, I used them and they were fine.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But I think those are screen prints, though, aren't they? Aren't those screen print transfers?
Some of them. Okay, so it's a digital print, and then they just put like a screen print on the back. So they had. I seen a video. They showed behind the scenes, but I think they took it down. But it wasn't F&M. It was a trade show. So they showed one of those big rock machines, and they're like, "Oh, this is digital printing," and they had a digital image, and all they did was put a white underbase underneath it.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, as far as feel compared, like all those ones that I printed and that I pressed and tested, they all feel about the same. You know, I think they're all good. It's just a matter of personal preference. I think if I got an order for like 500 shirts, I would be calling a company. I don't think I would be printing those out myself because of the time that it would take to do it. I would call, Top Transfer or somebody, depending on what the print was. And one of them guys with one of them big industrial machines, I would have them printed out, just because that's the powder and the curing is the more labor part involved of it, because it's hands on. There's nothing that the printer does the work of the printing, which is all automatic, but the powder and the heating, the curing is hands on stuff that you have to do.
Yeah.
So I would definitely go with one of those other companies if it was something like that.
Wow. Well, South Bay Creations, Jason, man, we appreciate you coming through and giving us an update on this direct-to-film process and the growth. And, I mean, many, many blessings to you, man. I definitely will be with you in a few coming days.
Sounds good.
Anybody else got any more questions?
Man, I just want to apologize for being late and having to step away. It's just been one of them days, man. But appreciate you, man, for such a detailed explanation of this DTF process, man. We're gonna have to repost this, and you're gonna see it from me on.
Yeah, there was a lot of good information
on every platform somewhere, man. But appreciate you.
Sounds good. Yeah, no problem at all. If anybody's got any questions, whenever, you can drop them down below or post them up in the squad. Send me a message. It's probably better if you put them in the group, so that if I answer a question, or if Anthony or somebody else that answers a question, that everybody else can see it, and we can all learn from it. Oh man, he wants to rapid fire, Mike.
That's Saturday.
Yeah, man.
Saturday.
Mike T, slipping, man. What a rapid fire, man. I'll do a rapid fire. Hot or cold?
Cold.
Mugs or DTF?
DTF.
Money or no money?
Money.
Red or blue? Cotton or polyester?
Cotton.
There we go, man. I got you, Peaches.
Salute. I'll have to excuse me. I am exhausted, and I got to get back to these orders. But we appreciate everybody that came out and rocked with us tonight. Blessed us again with some more gems. Y'all got questions on
definitely.
DTF? I suggest y'all rewind this back, write them notes down, gain information, and you can hit them up on Instagram. I believe that's South Bay Creations, and on Facebook, and also in the squad, y'all. You heard him say, make a post, he'll answer it, and it'll be an open-ended post. So there's other DTF gurus out there right now that can also chime in.
Jason, what's the other group that you admin?
Yeah. Showtime Sublimation and DTF.
Showtime Sublimation.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all go check them groups out too, man. It's dope too.
Yes.
Yeah. The lady over there, Tara, she's a graphics designer and she does really good work. I can't talk enough good about her because of what she does. But yeah, I would definitely go over there and check it out because she does some training and stuff too. She's just became a member here, so she might even be watching. But she's a really good person.
If you are, we would love to get you on the show.
Yeah, she's in Australia, so her timeline's a little different than us. But I think right now it's like in the middle of the day for her, so it would probably be no problem.
Oh yeah,
probably be no problem. She does good. She does good teaching. She's really good with Etsy. So Etsy questions, she would be the one to ask. She's got like 3, top 10 rated stores on Etsy.
And what's that group name again?
Her name is Tara Woodbury, I think it is. Yeah, Woodbury, and the group is Showtime Sublimation.
Showtime Sublimation.
And those images that she's got there can be used for. She's got SVGs there. There's the images for sublimation, but all of them have their PNGs with transparent backgrounds, so they can be used for DTF. Those images I showed earlier, those were from her. They came from her. So check her out.
Man, thank you again, Jason. Appreciate you, man. I will be getting with you in the next couple of days.
Sounds good. Yeah, any questions, drop them below. I'll be happy to help whoever. If you guys have any questions about DTF or printers or whatever, if I can't answer it, Tony or Anthony, I keep calling him. My brother's name is Anthony, and I just call him Tony. So every time I think of Anthony, I want to say Tony because it reminds me of my brother.
Yeah.
So I always say Tony on accident, but I'm talking about Anthony Alexander.
Yeah.
So
what we got coming Saturday, see?
ACA Customs. She's big on TikTok. Go check her out.
Yeah, make sure y'all chime in this Saturday night, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. But yo,
sounds good.
I'm out.
See you guys.
Right on.
Have a good night.
Thanks for watching.
Yep.